Widener Library. It's another very popular picture spot at Harvard, and this is absolutely the best angle of it. So I stopped right here, even though it's a little further away. When I first got here, I really wanted a picture on the steps with no one else on the steps. And there are always people on the steps. So I had to wake up a stranger that I just met at 6 a.m. while I was visiting Harvard. So they can take a picture of me on the steps while no one was there. And 6 a.m. is the only time when that happened. So that's when I did it. I got the picture. I'm glad I did, so I never have to do it again because there are always people on these steps. And this building is the hub of the Harvard University Library system, which includes 30 libraries in total, one of which is in Florence, Italy, and another in Washington, D.C. It is the third largest library in the United States, behind the Boston Public Library, which is also really pretty, or at least the historical part. Recommend visiting that, and the Library of Congress. But it is also the largest library in the world in terms of books when you consider the open stack system, which is a system where students can go underground to retrieve their own books without the assistance of library staff. And it is formally known as the Harry Elkins Widener Memorial Library, as you can see written on the top. And that is because in 1912, or just before it, a recent Harvard graduate who really loved books named Harry Elkins Widener decided to go overseas to England to collect rare books, and he did, but eventually he had had enough time away from home. In England, he also found one of Francis Bacon's original essays, but his parents went to England to retrieve him, and they did, but can anyone guess how they might have tried to get back to Cambridge from England in 1912?
Titanic.
They took the Titanic, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, but the Titanic did sink, and Harry and his father did not survive the sinking of the Titanic, but his mother, Eleanor, did. And when she returned to Cambridge, she wanted to keep her son's memory alive, so she funded the construction of Widener Library. She had 3 stipulations to the construction of this library. For many years, it was rumored that one of the stipulations that she had was that Harvard had to have a swimming requirement, which it did for many years, but Harvard had to officially say that no, this was not the reason they had a swimming requirement. But the actual stipulations were, 1, that a replica of Harry's study room had to be built in the center of the library, and it was, and it's still there today, and has a big portrait of him and the Gutenberg Bible right in front of it. And also, she said that fresh flowers had to be placed in his study room every week. And we still do this today. And a Harvard student goes into the study room and replaces the flowers every week, because that's what Eleanor used to do for him. And that's one of the stipulations she gave to give us this library. And 3, she wrote that no stone, no brick, and no piece of mortar shall be moved or dismantled from the building. And if it is, it'll become property of the city of Cambridge instead of Harvard. And she wrote this because in order to create this library, they just knocked the other one down that was here before. And they actually have a plaque on the right side of this library dedicated to the old library, Gore Hall, which they just knocked down. But Eleanor did not want her library to be knocked down, so she made that stipulation. And you might wonder how this became one of the largest libraries in the world if no brick could ever be moved or dismantled. And that's because what you see right here is just the tip of the iceberg. And there are actually 10 stories of Widener Library in total. And 4 of them are completely underground and extend not only directly beneath Widener Library, but also all throughout Tercentenary Theater. So if you stand over one of those intersections over there, you'll probably be standing over 4 floors of just stacks of books. And when I say stacks, I mean the stacks. We call them the stacks. And we go there when we really have work to do and really need to study, because there's no one down there. No furniture, no windows, just a few desks, that's kind of it. And it's just bookshelves that are really close together, full of books. So that's why the library is able to have so many books in it. I've never had to go to the stacks. I'm very proud of that. That area also has a secret tunnel leading to another library, and that's where they put the Harvard archives and all the cool stuff that Harvard has. And it's really hard to get in there, but I'm glad I did because I got to see JFK's speech. And now we can walk to that white building over there, but I'm gonna go to the right side of it.